Hello, my beautiful friends. I have returned from my retreat. So the retreat was called Rooted in Hope, Living in Community, and it was a retreat for people who are members or associate members or friends of the Iona community. And I'll put links to the Iona community in the comments below. But pretty much what that means is that all of us are in some way and somehow connected to the Isle of Iona, which is a very small island off the coast of Scotland, in the Hebridean island chain. And it was where Columba, Saint Columba, one of the three Celtic saints, had left Ireland. There's a whole story about that. And he had founded a monastery on Iona. And they say that Iona was the location of the Druid college that had existed before it, and that Columba lived in peace with, whomever was there, and and then trained, religious people to go out and spread the good word, beyond Iona in Scotland, England, and places like that. So Iona over the years has become much more ecumenical. So people of all different faiths were at this retreat. So a lot of Presbyterians, because a lot of Scottish folks are Presbyterian, but there was a Baptist, and then you have me, who's just a Celtic spiritual person. So there were all different kinds of people, and most of us were from the East Coast here in the United States, because it was a gathering of the East Coast members. But there were some people from the Midwest, and then somebody from Texas. So I was the only one that was actually local, which is fun. So it was really great, and I have a lot of notes, and I did some shorts from when I was there. The internet reception isn't great, which is great if that makes sense, because you really could focus, and it really was a transformational weekend. And if you have the opportunity to go into retreat with whatever practice you celebrate and honor, I absolutely recommend it. And I do recommend living in community. I tend to be a bit of a solo practitioner. I kind of like to do things in my own way, and I'm not a huge fan of joining up. But I will say that living in community with people from diverse backgrounds is really amazing. And we talked about hope for this world, and we started with honoring what doesn't bring us hope, and sort of our despair, and sort of where we are. And then by the end of the weekend, we had each made a little plan for how we can bring hope into the world, right? So it was really, really exciting, and I did take so many notes, and I journaled a lot, and I walked a lot, and I meditated a lot, and I prayed a lot. And I was struck because when I got there, when you go in the farmhouse, and I've been in the farmhouse before, there was this just book staring at me, and it was called, I can't remember what was the name of the book called. It was called The Sacred Path by a woman named Lauren Artress, and it was all about labyrinths, and the Celtic vision of a labyrinth, and talked about labyrinths and mazes, and there is a labyrinth there that you can walk through. And I had done it before. I did it last year because I was at a similar retreat to this last year with Denise Cron, who had written a book and had been on Iona. I don't think she's affiliated with the Iona community, but she had lived on Iona, or had been to Iona, and wrote a book and some cards, and so I had gone to that last year. This year she's doing the same thing over Samhain, but I can't do both, so I chose this one, and I'm glad I did, because this one was definitely rooted in Christianity, and of course I'm Christian, but I mean you could be of any faith or no faith to participate. But it's definitely rooted in Christ's hope for this world. So I really did enjoy that. So that book, I read most of it. I didn't. There were some technical parts that I didn't care about constructing them and whatnot. But I did like the idea of kind of telling me what the purpose of a labyrinth is, because I kind of never understand, why would you walk. I mean, it's cool, but why would you do it? So once I kind of got a better understanding of what it was, I did it the first day, and then I went back and I did it the second day. So I did really enjoy walking the labyrinth, meditating and praying as I walked. It really, really did bring me closer to God and allowed me to listen instead of hear. And so I thought that was really, really great. I, of course, I journaled and I did my cards and runes every day also. And we had a lot of time for just reflection and meditation, and we sang a lot, which is really great. I was raised in a very conservative tradition, and so I'm very used to very traditional Anglican hymns. But the music director, Sally, was just phenomenal. And she had drums and like shakers. And because I had my pipes, I played pipes a little bit. But like the music was just really great, and it was really cool to hear music from all over the world, from Ghana and from other places. It was really cool to sing them and learn about them, and I was just thinking that some of the words that Ruth, who is the director of the Iona Community, she participated via Zoom, and just thinking about how we can strengthen our communities and how that can help promote hope in the darkest of places, right? So there's a lot going on all over the world, right? And the Iona community, of course, is rooted in Scotland, so their focus, of course, is on things happening in Europe. But for us here in the United States, we have our own set of issues that we are concerned about, right? And our own concern kind of networks of things that are happening here. And it was just really great to be in a space with people where we could think bravely and boldly about hope, right? And what I kind of came away with, and I have so many notes and so many thoughts, is that hope begins in each one of us, but it begins small. Right. I'm a kind of person that when I see a problem, I want to fix the problem right away, like the whole problem. And sometimes problems are too big to solve that way. So you have to solve them a little piece at a time. And you do what you can with what you have at that particular time to help. And so whatever you're passionate about, whatever your cause is, whatever you really, really care about, you have to start small, and it starts with building community and helping each other. We talked about, I have such allergies from being in the woods. I didn't have my allergy medicine, so I'm kind of like stuffy. But so one of the things that we talked about is like having difficult conversations with people who are absolutely opposed, in mindset to what we believe. And there was a lot of discussion about that. But where I settle on that is that I think we have to be so careful if we're going to invite somebody to a table to have a conversation, that we need to have that conversation. We shouldn't invite them so that we can yell at them and tell them we're wrong, because they're never going to come to the table if they think that's what you're going to do. And we have to listen more than we hear. So we need to listen to what the root issues are, because that is the place where we could find. Somebody called it the third. Like, what's that? Like, we probably all agree that children shouldn't starve, right? We probably all agree about that, right? And there's all kinds of groups all over the world that do activism to help children not starve, right? So we all kind of agree on that. So how can we, who are maybe on different sides of a political fence, how can we work together to solve the starving children problem? Like, where can we come together? What roads could we go down and meet on together to solve the problem? And really, that if we focus on problems and not people, if we refrain from name calling and diminishing or dehumanizing the other, right? If we can come to what the Quakers call consensus about the issues that are important, then we can work towards solving them. So that was really a great takeaway. So I encourage you, if you have the opportunity, to definitely go on retreat, even if it's by yourself. There are lots of guidebooks out there, but you don't need anything special. Just you and yourself. You could take a tent if you don't have the money to go to a retreat center, and some very questions that you want to ask, and have a goal for what you want the weekend to do. And I did feel a great sense of community when I left this morning after our service and lunch. So I am wishing you all the best and brightest. I'm going to go blow my nose. Be well. Take care. Bye.